Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience.
Hello, welcome back to Big LEZ'S League. Make sure if you haven't already to subscribe to the YouTube if you're watching on there. If you're not, come over to the YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. Become a part of the Big LEZ'S League community. Some great content coming out here on the YouTube, including the drawing board, our Supercoach and NRL Fantasy show. We've also got a lot of Origin content coming out during the Origin period, and then obviously just some great rugby league content as well. Rumours, signings, reactions to news, stuff like that. Plenty of great content on the YouTube, so make sure you come across and subscribe. We've also got Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on all of those podcasting platforms, Instagram, TikTok, all of the socials. They will be below in the description. But without further ado, let's get straight into this podcast. We are going to be talking about we're sort of at the halfway point now of this round, so I thought it'd be nice to just get our thoughts, what we are thinking halfway through the round in terms of an Origin perspective, talking about a few guys that have been in the discussion, that are in the discussion, that could be in the discussion as well for both Queensland and New South Wales. So far with the footy that we've seen, obviously the Eels, the Rabbitohs, the Sharks, the Titans, the Broncos, and the Panthers. We'll start off with the first game, the Eels and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Obviously, Latrell Mitchell in the discussion. He was in the side in game 2. He was unreal, getting plenty of touches, a big part of majority of the tries and a big part of the spread sets, getting heavily involved. This is what we want to see from Latrell Mitchell on a week-to-week basis, and I thought that he looked really good for South Sydney against the Eels. Was a big part of that win. Obviously, Cody Walker was a big part of that win as well, himself and Jack Whiten. It is so unfortunate that we don't get to see Jack Whiten in Origin football anymore. Obviously, he has retired from rep footy, it looks like. So, it is just a real shame that we don't get to see Jack Whiten play Origin. And I think that if he was available, he'd be there in that 14 over Connor Watson potentially. But, just so unfortunate we don't get to see him in that arena because he always goes to another level and did go to another level, on the weekend. Obviously scored 2 tries. Every time he went into the line, he nearly got a tackle bust or was looking for an offload. Just really, really solid with his ball playing as well. Jack White, an absolute blinder on the weekend. Mitch Moses, it was a bit of a brain fry for him. He just looked like he had a bit of a brain snap out there. Obviously making some poor decisions with his passing game. A few questionable kicks on last tackle plays. And then a few brain snappers at the back end of the game that unfortunately got him sent to the bin. I think he's just frustrated with where the team's sitting at the moment. And I think that he's aware, and I'm sure that most of the other boys in that team are aware, that this is not where the Parramatta Real should be sitting on the ladder. Look at their side. They've got a top 8, maybe even a top 4 roster. They shouldn't be sitting in this position at the moment. I think that Moses is really frustrated where his club is at, and hopefully that doesn't come in and play a role in his Origin performance in Game 3. I don't want a frustrated, Mitchell Moses that is going to be giving away penalties. I want a Mitchell Moses that is switched on, ready to go. So hopefully this little brain snap was a one-time thing. We don't see it in the Origin arena because that could really hurt us going into a decider at Suncorp. Cam Murray, I thought that he was great, played majority of the game on the edge, came into the middle around 20 minutes in. I think went back to the edge later on, but I'm pretty sure, he did play both. He played in the middle in that lock forward role. Keon moved to the front row after about 20 minutes, but I'm pretty sure he went to the edge at one point. It doesn't come to me straight away at the moment. But Murray, big game on the weekend. I thought that his defense was unreal on the edge there, and I think that it might have been a tactical move. We could even see Keon move into the front row going into next week and Murray move into that 13 jersey. But then again, obviously with Arrow set to play his last game next week against the Dolphins before he gets season-ending surgery. Had a bit of a choke up there. I think that Murray, there could be a real chance that he does stay on the edge for the rest of the year as well. We'll have to wait and see. In terms of other edges, they've obviously got Tallis Duncan sitting on the bench at the moment. They could bring him onto an edge. They've got a few guys in the younger grades as well they could bring in. They've got a Tom Flegler not Tom Flegler of Dolphins fame, Thomas Flegler of South Sydney Rabbitohs fame, that they've talked about on Rabbitohs Radio quite a bit, that he looks like he's nearing ready to go. Just come back from a few big injuries, but I think that he could definitely be in the discussions for a debut very, very soon. In terms of the edge depth, I think we've got a pretty decent amount of it at the moment. Do we see Keon move back to an edge? I'm not too sure. I think that he's locked down that 13 jersey. If anyone's going to the edge, I think it is Murray. But yeah, both of these guys, for me, I think is going to be very interesting to see if Keon gets a spot in the squad in Game 3, because his form during the Origin period has been outstanding. Ever since he's moved into that 13 role, he has been absolutely phenomenal, running around 200 metres a game, 100 post-contact metres on the weekend. He's just an absolute freak. So, Keon, for me, I think will definitely be in the thought process of Madge. Then again, I think Madge is going to keep this the team quite similar to what it was in Game 2. I don't think there'll be any changes to the 17. I'm also talking about the squad itself. You could see a few faces come in and just get the Origin reps, like an Isaiah Katoa we spoke about on the Origin Changes podcast, or, maybe a Keon Koloamatangi, as well as that backup forward that can play in the middle. He can play on an edge. And if there is an injury to one of these guys, knock on wood there isn't, but if there is an injury to one of these guys, he could slot straight into an edge. Obviously got Mitch Barnett in the squad as well, that realistically at the moment would be my, 18, 19, 20. It probably would be Keon with Isaiah Katoa and Mitch Barnett. That means that Matt Burton misses out. I'm looking forward to this Dogs performance because it'll probably make me slot him straight back in. But Keon, I think, is really pushing for a spot in the squad. Then again, as I said, it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if there are no changes and we get the exact same 1 to 20 that we got in Game 2. Sharks and Titans. Going into this game, obviously Nico Hines was one guy we were keeping an eye on here, not to come back into this team, but just to see how he went. Obviously, he's had a few rough games during the Origin discussions. I really do feel like as soon as the Origin conversation came up of who was going to be the number 7, his form hit a real fucking brick wall. He just did not cope with that pressure well at all. Not only in Origin football, but the game before that against the Panthers, where he was sitting there thinking, is he going to get picked? Isn't he going to get picked? He had a Barry. He had an absolute Barry and, hasn't really shone back to the great Nicholas Hines form that we've seen. I thought in this game, it was a drastic improvement to what we've seen in previous weeks, him over-involving himself and trying to make the things happen by himself. He was trying to be the highlight, not the halfback. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, and I know that people are going to be coming after me going, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But I really do think in his game over the past few weeks, he has tried to be the highlight and not the halfback, and he's taken all of this pressure upon him and says, he's sort of telling himself at the moment, right, I have to be the best player in the competition, otherwise it's unacceptable. And I think that pressure that he's put on himself has hurt him over the past few weeks. But I really do think that he's slowly starting to strip the layers back and he's starting to take a little bit of pressure off himself, especially, since he knows now that Moses is going to be that 7. He doesn't have to play, absolutely unbelievable 10 out of 10 to get an Origin spot. He probably won't get an Origin spot in Game 3. So I think that he's just taking that pressure off himself a little bit, or slowly starting to get more involved in the right moments. Obviously starting to shift to his outside men a little bit more and set up some of his other guys rather than, running it himself and taking hit-ups. I think it is a big improvement from Hines compared to what we've seen over the past few weeks. Jesse Ramian, a few errors in this game, didn't look at his striking best. As I said, I don't think there's going to be any changes to this Blues starting 17, and that includes Ramian here. I don't think he gets a spot this year. And then McInnes for the Blues as well. Again, I think that he comes out of the squad. I think we do see, a younger guy come in and debut in the squad and just get that Origin experience. I think at least one of those guys will come in for a McInnes. I just feel like you don't need a McInnes in the squad anymore when you've got a Connor Watson there in 14 that can cover a lot of positions. And then from a Queensland perspective, obviously there wasn't many Queenslands in the first game. But in this second game here, Dave Fafita was obviously someone we were all watching for just to see how he went. I think that Dave Fafita went well. Did he play the best game ever? Obviously the Titans did fall off in the second half a little bit, but I thought he played well. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest if he gets picked in jersey number 17 for Kurt Capewell. I think that Kurt Capewell probably won't play Origin in game 3. There's a chance he could be in the squad at least, but I doubt he'll be in the 17. And if he is, I won't be surprised. Billy Slater sticking to his guns, but I think Dave Fafita comes in. I think he has to come in, and I think that it could be realistically the only change we see for Queensland as well if Billy Slater does want to stick to his guns and keep the same team. Obviously, you will see a change for Xavier Coates as well. And this brings me to my next guy, which is a real smoky. He's probably a little bit too young for Origin, but Alafiana Khan-Pereira. If you want a bit of speed out wide, obviously defensively is a little bit of a liability, but if you chuck a really good defensive center next to him, he could go okay. I think he could be a little bit of a chance potentially to get into the squad. Billy has blooded a few younger guys in the squad recently. Feel like he could have a chance in the squad potentially. Has played under 19 State of Origin and killed it in that arena, but look, I think that he is a real talent. I think that, he's got a lot of speed to burn. And just some of the signs I saw from him yesterday in that Titans game, just, with his kick chase, obviously jammed, I think, Will Kennedy a few times when he was trying to return the ball. Khan-Pereira is definitely getting better and he's learning. And I think that he's definitely someone that is a chance for the squad. I don't know if he gets a debut. That could be a real crazy bush poet call from Billy Slater, but I think that he's definitely a chance for the squad and just a young guy that they blood like they've been doing for the past 2 games. Carney P, I think that he's definitely improving. Defensively, he's still got a long way to go, but I really do think that he is definitely improving. And he's starting to really, get used to that intensity of first grade. And I'm sure, by next year, we'll see his defense improve drastically as well. Broncos and Panthers from this game. Reece Walsh, obviously, had 1 or 2 errors in this game. But other than that, I thought he was really trying to drag his team back into the game. Just as a whole from the Broncos, I thought it was a massive improvement. But Reece Walsh, for me, I don't think he gets left out in game 3. Even if KP comes back and has an absolute blinder, I think there's no chance that we see Reece Walsh hop out of that jersey. And a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are saying, bring in Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Bring him in. He's still battling a shoulder injury himself. I don't think he's even playing this weekend. Well, obviously the Dolphins aren't playing. There's the bye. Duh. But yeah, look, I don't know if Hummer's 100% anyway. And plus, AJ Brimson's only just coming back from injury as well. I don't know if I'd be picking him in the squad. I'm hearing rumors that he could be ruled out of this game anyway, AJ. So, look, Reece Walsh for me stays in there. There's no one really better that you can pick. I don't think I'd be picking KP straight after injury. AJ is going to get ruled out of this game most likely. At fullback, Hammer's still battling that shoulder injury as far as we know. Reece Walsh for me grabs that jersey and he keeps it. Edwards, for me, obviously keeps the Blues jersey, but I thought that he went quite well for the Panthers. Again, a big part of their spread sets and stuff like that. A little bit quiet to his standards, but I still thought he went well. And I'm sure if you look at the stats, and when I go back and look at the stats for this game, he's obviously going to have that 150 to 200 meters. I'm sure of it. Selwyn Covo, look, I thought that he had a pretty decent game as well. Got involved at a few tackle busts, some good moments in defense. Definitely a chance if he's ready to go to come back into this squad and take that wing spot for Xavier Coates. Jerome Luai, I thought was quite solid in this game as well at 7. I had some big moments there. It was a very tough and physical game, and both sides brought a real intensity. As we said for the Broncos, a massive improvement for them just in terms of their intensity. They can go to that next level now, so let's see them do it. Gross. See them do it against some other opposition here, some lower grade and some higher grade opposition. Let's see them do that over the next few weeks. Ezra Mam, obviously there's a bit of chat around Tom Dearden. I don't think Tom Dearden gets dropped, but if he does, Ezra Mam could be a shot. Look, did he have the best game yesterday in a game that, would warrant a Queensland selection? Having an absolute Barry Crocker today. Look, I don't think so. I think that defensively he had some big moments and really solid in defense, a lot of energy in defense, but attacking-wise, I just don't think he's going to get that spot over Dearden at the moment. I don't think he's ready for Origin at the moment either. He's still very, very young. Paddy Carrigan, very interesting to see him play on the edge. Are we reading into this a little bit too much for Origin standards? Maybe a little bit, but yeah, definitely one for the punters to take into account here. Paddy Carrigan playing on an edge. Very, very interesting. And then Payne Haas. Payne Haas, for me, had a really, really solid game. Just getting through his work through the middle, played big minutes, I think, again. Obviously, didn't get taken off, I don't think, until about 20, 25 minutes to go. So, had a huge stint on the weekend, played some massive, massive minutes. I think that he will definitely get picked. I don't think there's any doubt of it. And I think that he's obviously going to be a big part of his New South Wales to do win Origin Game 3. Just some guys for the future. Definitely think Liam Henry is going to be in and around the discussion over the next 2 to 3 years. I think that he, obviously, I think we'll have a pretty similar trajectory, and they're two very different players. But to a Spencer Leniu in regards to he's going to come out next year, in my opinion, and really kill it. He's been having some great performances for the Panthers off the bench, some really underrated performances as well. I think that he could be an Origin player very, very soon, over the next 2 to 3 years, maybe a little bit longer when some of these older guys do end up retiring. But I think he'll definitely be in and around the discussion over the next few years. I think he'll lock down a starting spot, potentially two, when Fisher Harris walks out the door. But yeah, look, very, very exciting times in terms of prospects there. I think that Liam Henry is definitely one of those. But there you go. That is your halfway through report, I should say, of Origin, just what we're thinking after the Thursday and Friday games of round 18. Let me know what you're thinking about any of the players that we've seen so far this round. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube. Make sure to follow all the socials, which will be down below in the comment section. And we'll see you guys in the next one.